And hello, everybody. Today we are going to get into the discussion of Shinto, or the major belief system in Japan, also known as the Way of the Gods. Now, Shinto, we think, was kind of a way in which people were able to connect with their ancestors through the worship of certain gods. We think it started around 500 BCE, but again, we don't have a lot of records. We do know it was kind of codified, or it seems the basic practices, if you will, were really established by around the year 600 CE. We don't really have a lot of scriptures. There's no necessary founder that we know of in this particular religion. It's fairly loose. There's some priests which you can visit in a temple, and that's what you'll see on the right side there. And this is a religion that has been passed down from generation to generation. It is primarily taught from parents to children. And you're in a sacred area of Shinto because it will be often marked with a torii gate. And if I hop back here, this is a torii gate as I circle it with the mouse. Now, I like to talk about the beliefs of Shinto at this point, and specifically their creation myth, which is really important to understand because it gives us a glimpse on the love that people have for Japan. In Shinto, it's believed that there were two major gods. It doesn't really say how they got there, but there were two gods that were kind of in the beginning, if you will. Izanagi no Makoto and Izanami no Makoto. Izanagi is the male right here, and Izanami is the female over here. And together, using a sacred spear, don't ask me where it came from, they created the islands of Japan. Now, this is very important because this makes the islands themselves sacred and holy. And this is a really crucial thing that you need to understand about this respect. Nature is going to play a very large part in this religion, and it all has to believe because these gods were specifically around, and the first thing they created was the land in which the people would live on, and the land that indeed would sustain the population. And there's a deep love of nature here, and so this is really crucial to understand. Now, this is a polytheistic religion. Um, the gods of Japan are actually the children of Izanagi and Izanami, okay, along with the islands of Japan themselves. The most popular, and not surprisingly, was the sun god. However, in this case, the sun god was a female, Amaterasu Omikami, the goddess of the sun. We know sun gods are very important, goes all the way back to Ra and other types of gods and goddesses. And so, but once again, we find something interesting about the culture here. This is obviously a female goddess, so we talk about some equality there that we'll get into later on. Now, you worship again in the home. In many ways, again, yet another Eastern religion like Hinduism and Buddhism. And what people do is they build a little thing right here. It's called a kamidana, which is a shrine that you have in your home in which you can worship a particular kami or god. And it is actually believed, kind of like Christian churches, that the spirits of these gods inhabit the kamidanas and other areas in nature, that the spirits of the gods are involved with humans and are interactive, if you will. And it is generally believed that these gods are nice to people and genuinely want to help us. And these gods can also be in nature. They can be a river, they can be a mountain, they can be a tree. And for whatever reason, priests have identified certain areas as sacred to Shinto. This is probably the most famous shrine. This is the Itsukushima Shrine in Japan. For my seniors who go down to Disney, you're going to see the shrine and you're going to know what it's from and you're going to thank me. Now, again, nature being very important, that the gods would be here, and this is really the lake itself is considered to be a kami. Here's another really important one. This is the Fushimi Inara Taisha Shrine, in which they actually have built this just really beautiful and kind of cool different path I mean, this almost looks like it's from a set of a movie or something. Like it's like right out of a Game of Thrones episode. But this is a real place that you can go to in Japan. And one of my personal favorites is Mount Tatsuyama, which is actually an entire mountain. You see a little shrine is up here, and right on the other side of it is a torii gate that does indicate it, and you can see how high up in the mountains this is. I mean, Mount Fuji is seen like that as well, but Mount Tatsuyama is considered to be the actual place where the island was initially created. Probably the most famous shrine, though, is the Nagasaki Shrine, and the reason I say this is here's the torii gate on the left in Nagasaki in the year 1945, and if you remember in 1945, we dropped a nuclear bomb on Nagasaki, and yet this torii gate stood. Fast forward to 2012 when the tsunami hit Japan. Nagasaki again was wiped out, except for, oh, wait, there's the same exact torii gate. So this gate was able to survive a nuclear bomb and a tsunami. Say what you will about belief in religion, that is pretty incredible. Now, the key thing about the practices of Shinto are the four affirmations. Okay, and the first is the tradition of the family, in which that you understand that the family is the foundation of your life, that they preserve traditions, and you need to be involved, obey your family, and in many ways, almost worship your family. A deep love of nature. The kami are in nature. The islands are sacred, and we need to be careful. If you look, even though Japan is the home of some of these megacities like Tokyo and Kobe and places like that, um, they often bring in aspects of nature everywhere. People have little bonsai trees in their homes. Gardening is very important, lots of open spaces, and many shrines and other things are actually built within the landscape as opposed to ripping it down. Ritual purity, which you actually see right here. These people that are cleansing themselves, very cold water, samurai ish. You see the snow on the ground. You always wash your hands before you go into a temple. Not surprisingly, this is why the common practice in Japan of taking your shoes off when you enter a home, that it is very important. And they also have a couple festivals every year, the idea to drive out pollutants or impurities from your body. And then finally, you have Matsuri, which is worshiping and honoring gods or ancestral spirits. And a little bit here, you have ancestor worship. There is the belief that the spirit lives on, the spirits can commune with the gods. And unlike the Chinese gods who can kind of wreck you, that the spirits can draw attention of these benevolent gods that can bring you good fortune. You do have a lot of influence otherwise. Buddhism has been very influential here. Buddhism is very popular in Japan. Buddha himself is actually considered by many to be a kami, and the idea of the Eightfold Path, that moral and practical code of Buddhism, as well as to a certain degree, Confucianism has influenced this religion a lot. There's lots of meditation. They also believe in songs and festival koguri songs. There's lots of singing and hymns. There is a deep belief in an afterlife. They talk of a high plane where the good go, or a dark land where the evil go. And a day-to-day artistic practice that actually comes out of this is origami. Origami paper, papers made from trees, but the idea of making natural things, the most famous things you normally see are, um, frogs and cranes and things like that. I, of course, go with Yoda. What's really cool about this is most origami that is done, it is done right here. This is one piece of paper. It's green on the inside, it's beige on the outside, and it's Yoda, and it's awesome. Extra credit opportunity if you tomorrow bring in your own piece of original origami that you track down a YouTube video, you get it done. We're talking about 5 points extra credit. So let's try to remember that. Okay, I hope you learn a little bit something new about a different religion you might not be familiar with. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Get your questions, get your comments, and I'll see you guys later.